So guys, one of my most favorite topics, cultural travel photography. As a travel journalist, I was able to discover many interesting countries and to document their cultures. So I'll be very excited to share this masterclass with you. So yeah, let's start first, what is actually cultural travel photography and why it's different from just travel photography. So basically travel photography can be cultural, it can be like wildlife, it can be architecture, it can be extreme sports as well. So there are many different genres. So basically, cultural travel photography is a genre of photography that focuses on capturing a place through the lens of its people. Think about customs, traditions, festivals, architecture, and daily life all in relation with each other. And the goal is to tell a story about the place and its people. Personally, as a travel journalist, I always like to capture the challenges of local people that they have in their country. Especially magazines like National Geographic are usually interested in those stories of vulnerable individuals or local communities. It can be indigenous tribes, can be local communities from a city, a village, or even some urban subcultures. So here you can see some pictures that I took on the road. Like as you can see, when you capture especially portraits in a cultural context, it helps sometimes to ask the subject to be like in an environment that tells a story about the person itself. So he's like a chef in a restaurant in Kyoto from I think he was from Hokkaido because he was preparing Hokkaido cuisine, but it could be also another region. And as you can see, when you would only have the chef, let's say in his normal daily clothes, then of course it will not tell that good story. So it's important to choose the right setting. You can see he has a lot of cooking gear behind him. You see a huge bottle of sake, and he's also in his white cooking clothes. So you know, okay, he's like a real chef. Here you can see another picture. As you can see, I used a bit of creativity to put the lens a bit lower so it captures a bit the space. You see the tatami mats. You see behind the beautiful Japanese garden. And of course, also the dress code helps to also show more that she is a Maiko, and Maiko is actually an apprentice of a geisha. Another picture from Indonesia, from Bali. As you can see, the local man shows proudly like two roosters, and he was explaining a story that in Indonesia they are still practicing like rooster fighting. So it was a very unique picture to shoot because I needed to capture it a bit in action because the roosters were moving, of course. And yeah, you can also think a bit about the ethical dilemma. Yeah, how do you deal as a travel journalist with other customs like rooster fights or people that ride on elephants? So those are always ethical dilemmas. Like, is it right? Is it not right? Should you capture the picture or not? Here we have another portrait picture. It's captured in action. As you can see, you see a man just basically hanging out of a train. As you can imagine, my country, where I lived most of my life, Netherlands, it will be forbidden to just hang out of a train. But as you can see, he just does that. And I hope he didn't hit anything on the road. But as you can see further back, there are more people doing basically the same, and it really captures nice the environment and the whole train. So that's also a creative way of taking a picture. It's also capturing the environment so you can understand a little bit what's happening with the subject. And here we have an example of oyster, yeah, I can call him collector or hunter. It's in Mancora, Peru, a surf town. And as you can see, he's preparing oysters with some lemon. You see the ingredients. You see salt, lemon, like a knife he's holding, and the shell of the oyster. Further, I think it's quite cool to see that he's like looking far into the sea, like he's like spotting something, like a whale. Actually, there are whales there in the region. So I really like this picture because further you can also see just some tourists on the background, like just hanging around the pool, I guess. So here you can see also like it's a bit captured from down. So you can like see also the shells that that he collected. This another picture. It's like an action. It's actually from a very long time ago, so it was a bit shot with a bit the worst camera was with the phone. Most of the portrait pictures I try to use like DSLR camera, but to be honest, nowadays the newest iPhones have also very good camera. And for water pictures, I would recommend a GoPro, and also for like other extreme sports or like hiking activities, or the Amazon jungle as well. So here you can see some fire artists in Costa Rica. And as you can see, it tells also a story because you can see some people watching in the background. You can see them play with those fire sticks, and that the fire sticks give also a bit more like meaning to the subjects. And further, also like a bit of advice from me, like from my expeditions that I did, is to basically connect with the locals before you take a picture. Try to like talk with them, tell about your projects, make them excited. Try to connect like on an empathy level by understanding also their challenges, their daily life, that they are maybe also busy or have their own struggles. And yeah, that makes definitely doors open, like here in Monte Cristi, or actually like a village close to Monte Cristi in Ecuador, where they were making the traditional paja de toquilla, and also called the Panama hat that gangsters used to wear in Chicago. So here's an example how I'm like interacting like with the person from Ecuador, and yeah, it really helps to basically capture authentic content, because you will get definitely invited to their homes where usually you will not step normally inside if you don't make that connection. And here, but lastly, sometimes when you take like cultural travel photography, it's not only about the people, but also about the rituals they are doing, about the places where they live, and even like items that they maybe make, sell, or that are very important to them, or the context of the picture. And of course, be creative. That means try to capture from like different angles, try to show what the people are doing. Like here you can see Pan de Muerto from Dia de Muertos in Oaxaca, Mexico. You can see the people preparing like the hot Mexican chocolate for the celebration. And you can also see like how people make those kind of decorations for Dia de Muertos. I think it's kind of like yeah, something like a balloon that they are making there on the left side, and there's also like a man selling something. But to be honest, I don't even remember what he had that there in the barrel, because I didn't check it out back then. It is very nice to see like the environment, how the locals prepare for the celebrations. So yeah, how do you take pictures of people abroad, right? Especially as I should begin with cultural travel photography, it can be maybe scary sometimes to approach just a total stranger abroad, like with a language barrier, a foreign language, and just ask like, hey, can I just take a picture of your face, right? So yeah, how do you do that actually? So yeah, it starts actually with pre-trip research, preparing, pack the right camera, and photography equipment, so you will not run out of battery or like memory when you're capturing, because it can be quite inconvenient. Maybe you can get a bit shy, especially in the beginning, if things don't go well, right, when you're like interacting with the subject. So it really helps to pack the right camera. If you want to start, it's totally fine with the phone. You can also invest in a DSLR camera. It's a bit a bigger one, also by, like bigger lenses, for example, right? And further, if you want to be a little bit more incognito, where you maybe take pictures like on the market and you want to travel everywhere with your equipment without being afraid that it can get stolen, then a GoPro can do quite a well job. So I would recommend definitely an iPhone because you have it always on you. GoPro, if you go on a bit more dangerous neighborhoods, markets, or just for extreme sports. And a DSLR camera can be great. I use usually a Canon camera with lenses. Lenses help a lot, like to shoot a better quality. And a DSLR camera can make a bit, look you a bit, you can look a bit more professional, especially if you do projects for like tourist companies or for travel media. Further, it's important to get familiar with the local photography law abroad, ask permission to take portrait pictures. Don't shoot like sneaky, right? I think everyone has done that maybe at least one time in their life. But just smile to the people, approach them, then take a portrait picture. And of course, use the environment, light, dress code, objects, and emotions in your advantage. We will go dive deeper a bit in those topics. So, for example, with packing the right camera. So it's important that you prepare yourself before the expedition, so you know if you can carry the camera. Try to think about where do you go? Do you go to the Amazon jungle? Do you have enough strength to carry everything? Maybe you go a bit more to a colder climate or just like an urban city. Further, try to think about what kind of projects you do, of course. To do it for your own travel blog, for like a travel magazine, or maybe for a tourist company abroad or a press trip. Try to think about that. And bring also extra SD cards. That's very important. Never run out of memory. Have a tripod if you want to make stable shots. Take additional lights, a hard drive to back up your content, and of course, batteries, because you don't want to run out of them. Asking permission for portrait photography. Yeah, so usually I would say just a smile and a nod can be enough for having permission to take a picture of someone. I usually do that when I see that people are busy. I try to make myself visible, that I take a picture and smile to the subject, to the person, right? And sometimes I show the camera and like if it's like okay, basically, that I take a picture without clicking on it, and usually they nod or like smile, so then I know okay, I can take it. So it's like non-verbal, basically, like confirmation. Another way, if you feel more comfortable, it's better just to go to them and talk. But yeah, if you want to capture people like in action in their, let's say, natural habitats, then definitely it's better to first shoot and then go and like show like, hey, if it's fine. If they get angry, then say sorry, delete your footage, right? So always be polite. That's the most important thing, because not everyone likes to be on a video camera on a picture, right? So what about the law of photography, right? Is it that's actually something very important to know. Like just to make it like simple, usually public spaces, you could take pictures, but of course, if you randomly zoom in on someone, right, and take pictures of the face, of course, it's not appreciated, and especially if you publish it, it's their privacy, so don't do that. And in closed spaces, also, it's not allowed. So let's say if someone is at the office and you take pictures through the window, it's in the private setting, right? So it's not that allowed. So let's say it can damage, for example, his reputation, right? When he's like doing something that he shouldn't do at the office. Further, in some countries, it's not allowed to do journalist work without prior permission. So really think good about that. So be careful to take too professional gear with you, because then they see that you are a journalist. and also avoid taking pictures of military, police, and security when they are on duty. That means also for some military or government buildings. Also, very important thing is like, yeah, if you want to take a drone, always check if it's allowed by the airlines and the country. So yeah, use the environment in a creative way. So actually, in my opinion, that's the most important, like the art of story hunting. It's not only your equipment, but just the creativity and the way how you can find stories. That's a bit my strong side. I didn't really follow like a photography like study, just like journalism in general. We had some photography, but not that deep as on other studies. But I would say connect with the people and try to find a unique angle. As you can see on this picture, for example, I use the smoke of the grill to basically capture the man in action, like how he's flavoring, like I think it was like alpaca meat in Chile. It was close to the famous desert of Atacama. That's very beautiful for star watching and very dry as well. Further, yeah, what you can do is different angles, try a bit to shoot from like down to make the subject big, so he will look a bit more brave, or from the other side, right, from above, so you can make a subject very small or vulnerable. Use the light, right, for better colors, and also try to think about the dress code and items and environment of the subject to tell more like a cultural story. So yeah, you can think maybe about like, yeah, which camera should you pack abroad if you go for like your photography expedition. So yeah, I would definitely recommend to start out with the iPhone if you just want to go as fast as possible, because I would recommend just don't only like read about it or watch videos, really go out there, experiment with your phone, just what you got, even if it's like an old camera, because it's all about story hunting, lightning, and the right story, and of course, like the right angle. So you can use smartphones, you can use a DSLR camera with different lenses, and of course, like a GoPro if you want to be a bit more incognito and a bit like James Bond going through the market. Let's say if they are like selling illegal goods, then of course, if you make a story like that, I went to many that kind of markets, like when they were selling like monkey meat, for example, in Belém, in Iquitos, Peru, or like some alpaca photos in La Paz, Bolivia. So then, yeah, sometimes I took like a bigger camera, but sometimes a GoPro can be a bit more, yeah, a bit better choice in that situations, because some people can be maybe not that happy about it that you're filming. So in that case, was filming in a public space, but yeah, I always try also to think about the subject so they are all, so that they don't get, of course, in problems. So try to avoid filming subjects next to illegal activities. So it depends a bit if you work for a specific medium, but I would always say it's important to protect the subject. So yeah, further, yeah, personally, I just usually do all of them. So I have a phone for like fast photography, GoPro more for like surfing, underwater photography, and the DSLR camera. It's usually for taking those beautiful portrait pictures of indigenous tribes or urban subcultures, or just if I'm doing like some work for like hotels, ecologists, or like tour agencies, then it looks a bit more professional if you show up like with the camera instead of just your phone, right? Because then they think, hey, I could have also taken those pictures. Even if sometimes, yeah, with the phone, you can sometimes even take a better one because it's a bit more, yeah, that's always on you, right? So you can click it faster. So yeah, imagine you went there for that expedition. So how to get published, like travel magazines. So you can do it by entering competitions. There are many competitions for like tour agencies, tourist companies, brands where they have yeah, competition where you can basically win something with your photography, but also like travel magazines and especially National Geographic. And if you want to get published, then definitely if you want to publish like a travel travel photography, then read really good the guidelines about how to pitch. Like they're usually very clear guidelines, like step by step, like which category, for example. Also try to think about the right format. Usually see it as well, because otherwise they will not accept it, because yeah, it goes to like a printed magazine or sometimes just the website. And be authentic. Try to capture the subject with a different angle and do your best to tell a story, right? So let's say if you go to Machu Picchu, Peru, where many people go, right? There are already many pictures. Try to capture like a unique story. So think, for example, about the train that goes to Aguascalientes to Machu Picchu. Maybe you can make a story about the people that work there as for example, as the person that repairs the train rails, right? Or maybe you can make a whole photograph reportage about the people that clean Machu Picchu and try to maintain it, right? Restore it. So those can be very unique stories. Like, how do those people live? What are their challenges? Where do they eat, right? Like affordable food, for example. You get a bit a different angle of the story. So yeah, like to close the session down, I have like a challenge for you for the next masterclass. So you can get a bit more comfortable with cultural travel photography, especially with portraits of people, because that's very important that you become more confident as a travel photographer to basically approach your subject for taking a picture. So the challenge is ask someone if you can take a portrait picture of that person, and yeah, try like to use those rules, right? Like actually talking with the person, connecting, building a relationship, even if it's like 20 or 25 minutes to open really doors for you. Maybe even people invite you or even provide you a better story that you told first. So go for it and just bring your phone, GoPro camera, go out there and try to ask people for taking like a portrait picture. It's important. It needs to be like a total stranger. And also, like, if you feel like unconfident, if you feel your heart beating hard, right? Or like shy, or maybe, a bit anxious, then definitely write it later down in your notebook and try to think, yeah, why is that, right? And on the other side, you can also feel very excited, right? So you feel like adrenaline, like also cool, like a challenge, right? To do that. So try to capture your emotions as well. Okay, so that's also very important. So ask someone if you can take a portrait picture of that person. So thanks everyone for like watching. Just like a small summary. So we learned about cultural travel photography, what it is, shooting portraits of people, what camera to choose, love public travel photography, and confidence of asking people to take pictures. Thank you everyone, and see you during the next masterclass.